Guys, how you doing? Appreciate you being here. Okay, y'all ready in the back? Good deal. Okay, appreciate you guys being here. First of all, I want to say how excited I am to be here. Obviously, December 28th, I think, was the first day I got to town, and it's been wide open ever since with this new recruiting period that we're dealing with the transfers and so forth. But I know my family and I are excited to get here. Obviously, reuniting with Coach Malzahn is exciting. He and I have worked together. This is my third time, I think, to work for him. You know, he's a guy that I've always had a lot of respect for. Obviously, I think he changed the way college football was played at some point way back when he first got in the SEC, I think at Arkansas, and excited to reunite with him and some of the other guys that I've worked with in previous stops as well. So looking forward to it. It's exciting. I'll tell you what, it's a lot of energy here. That's one thing guys ask me from some of my friends, like, what's it like there? And the energy here, I think you can feel that, from our fan base as well as our players. And like I said, it's been fun. It's been a whirlwind now. A lot going on here in the month I've been here, but I'm looking forward to getting to spring practice, and which is right around the corner as well. First, I want to talk about the four guys that we have on offense. Start with Kenmore Gamble, tight end, transfer from Florida. Obviously, a guy that I had to get to know quickly. I didn't have a relationship with him before, but Brian Blackman, our tight ends coach, did a great job with him. Obviously, Coach Malzahn as well. But, what I see with him is a big athletic guy. He's a proven guy. I think he caught 40-something balls maybe at Florida last year. I think he can play all three spots at tight end. In other words, flexed out, attached, as well as playing the hip. I think he's a guy that, will play at the next level. And, I think he brings a different dimension to our offense. And that's kind of what we were looking for. Obviously, with Alex still coming back, a guy that's really – I think improved from what I've seen on film and understand, and we got some young guys there as well. But I think Kenmore, anytime you get a chance to, I think he's an impact player for us, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to continue his development, and I know that's a big get for us. Kobe Hudson, obviously a receiver from Auburn, transfer. I was recruiting him back when he was a ninth grader as well. Had a really good relationship with he and his family as well as Coach Malzahn. And, when I was there, we got to know him at a very young age. He made the decision to transfer, and for us, it was a no-brainer. Great family. I think he caught 40-something balls for those guys last year as well. He's a dynamic guy. He can really he's got great balance and body control, great ball skills. Those are the things that stood out to me. Obviously, he's a good athlete, can run and all those things, but really, really competitive, wants to be really good. He's going to fit in great here, and he's already off to a great start. John Rice Plumley, another guy that I recruited at a previous stop, and he is a true dual threat guy, without a question. Obviously, he plays baseball and football. He's a great athlete, but he's a great person. He's already really come in and connected with his team. Some guys have personalities. I've learned over the 25 years I've been doing this that it takes them some time, right, to interact with their teammates, to kind of build those relationships. John Rice naturally does that. Like, you can feel the energy of him, and he's off to a great start in the weight room and conditioning, as well as moonlighting over there with baseball, and really think he could bring a really big dimension to our team from the standpoint of being a dual threat guy. And, he's also played, whether, in 19 playing quarterback, a little bit in 20, playing receiver full time, he brings some experience. If you look at our team in that room when we got coming back, Mikey was thrown into action last year, did an outstanding job, led our team to 9 wins and so forth. But when you look at experience, there's not a ton there. So I think that's another thing he brings, some experience at a high level, and we're really excited to get him. Ryan Swoboda, if you hadn't seen this guy yet, he's huge. He has a duck down walking through the door, 6'10" guy, maybe 6'11". Two-year starter there at Virginia, maybe 2.5. Recruiting him was interesting too, because he's an older guy coming in as a graduate transfer, and a guy that really understands what he's looking to do. He wants to come and continue his development. Probably could have gone to the NFL. Who knows where he would end up, but he wanted to try to improve his status or his stock, so to speak. Obviously, Herb Hand did a great job recruiting him, Coach Malzahn, but Herb having the reputation of really developing guys, I think the numbers speak for themselves. I think that really excited Ryan, and get back close to home, I think, was also didn't hurt for sure. But we expect all four of these guys to have an impact on our team. It's going to be neat watching this thing play out in the spring. And again, like Travis said earlier, I think we tried to address, me getting here a month and a half now and sitting down and trying to figure out with Coach what we needed. I think we addressed those needs, and Still maybe a couple opportunities for some late additions, but very, very happy with what we did with the transfer portal. And like I said, looking forward to getting these guys to spring ball here in March. All right, questions?
Coach, welcome to UCF.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you just kind of touch more about the relationship you have with Coach Malzahn? I know this is your third time working with him. When did that start? Were you was Gus recruiting maybe one of your players of Marietta? I think.
Yeah, that's right. I was the head coach at Lassiter High School in Marietta, Georgia in 2008. Had a tight end there named Philip Lutzenkirchen, who I don't know if you guys know who he was or not, but obviously a tragic story, but also a story that is pretty neat to tell. I think his dad and I were very close. Philip had three sisters. I'm still very close to them. They babysat my kids when I was the head coach there. My kids were really young. And Coach came in to recruit him. He had just gotten to Auburn and came in to recruit him. And Coach Malzahn, if you guys know him well enough now, like I was high school head coach. This is Gus Malzahn coming in, offense. He's, kind of the first one in that SEC to start going fast and doing things. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And I come in, and he came in to recruit him, and I wanted to sit down and talk some ball with him. He wouldn't tell me anything. He's secret. He wouldn't. I tried to get him on the board. Hey, can you show me this? And he'd kind of show me some little things. But But as we built that relationship, and Philip became a very good player for him there at Auburn, and I think he's the all-time touchdown receptions leader there, or might have been. And Philip was a great player for us. Caught almost 80 balls his senior year, and really we were able to do, like I mentioned with Kenmore, flex, attach, and in the backfield, very versatile. Unbelievable ball skills, and that's how I met Coach. And then over the years, we just kind of stayed in touch. And as I moved into college football in 2010, he helped me prepare for interviews and did different things, and just built that relationship. And I had taken the Spain Park job in Hoover when Coach got the Auburn job, and he wanted to hire a couple of high school coaches as analysts, one from Alabama, one from Georgia, and he hired me there. I think I might have been the first analyst ever there at that university, and now they're everywhere, right? But so we just stayed in touch, and then I left there and went to be a coordinator, and he hired me back, and now I'm getting to work with him again. So it's exciting, and he's been a huge influence on my career for sure.
Coach Jason Beatty with the Orlando Sentinel. You know Gus Malzahn and some of these guys on his staff, but what do you know about UCF, and what did you know about UCF before you took this job?
Yeah, I know they kicked our tail in 2017 when I was at Auburn, and he, from afar, this has been always an intriguing, exciting job. The excitement, the energy. I remember that night, even in the bowl game, fans. I think it was probably 3/4 of UCF fans, and that said a lot. They were excited to be there. They wanted to be there. They were competitive. They had a really good team. A lot of those guys still playing in the NFL, but I just thought it was a program on the rise. And I think Coach mentioned it. The future of college football, I believe, is here. I believe that 100%. When you are in this program and around this program and feel the energy, obviously moving to another conference in another year is big too. But and we have an AD that is unbelievable. I've known him. We were in the same conference the last 3 years, and just a lot of positive, exciting things going on here. Our players enjoy being here. The one thing I've noticed about our players, very confident, but very humble, and they do what you ask them to do. And I'll be honest with you, college football, with the transfer portal and all the changes going on and mixing personalities, sometimes that's hard to do. But I think Coach, the kind of the system he has in place and the culture that he's developed, I know at previous stops, and now he's doing it here. I think it helps those guys transition quickly and buy into what we're doing. I think that's what makes it exciting. But yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. This is a great place to live, great place to work, and my family's excited to move as well.
Chip in the back here, Adam Shadoff from Fox 35. Right. Do you envision Plumlee as an every down starting quarterback that plays the entire game, or is he a mix it up kind of a guy? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think it'll play out in the spring. Mikey, obviously a lot of experience, this year, still being a young player. And the one good thing about being new and coming in is being able to really evaluate those guys through my eyes. I know Coach has mentioned that to me as well in private. Like, I'm excited that you're here because you're going to get from an outside view. You haven't been with any of these guys yet. And John Rice will come in. He's obviously didn't play quarterback this past year, so he's got some work to do as well. But the thing I like about it is we have, I guess, 5 on scholarship now, and we're going to start day one. And I told him this in the meeting. All I can go by is what you put on film, is the way you present yourself around your teammates. I think so much about playing quarterback is how you affect the other 10 guys on the field or your team or whatever. It's not all about who has the best arm and who runs the fastest. But I think they all have some good qualities, obviously, or they wouldn't be here. But at the same time, this is going to be a lot of fun watching these guys develop. And we sure hope a guy steps up to the front and separates himself quickly. But I think I'm more excited about just getting on the field with them all.
Coach, UCF lost Brandon Johnson, who scored 11 touchdowns last year, to the NFL. Do you think Kobe Hudson comes in and plays the same boundary receivers position that he did?
Probably there's probably a really good chance of that, but I also think that without getting on the field with those guys, probably a little bit tough for me to say right now. I think Kobe will have every opportunity to do that. Kobe's a guy, too, that I think is a good enough player that you'll want to move him around some. I know that's something that we've always done in this offense is been able to move our guys to different places. And, the one thing that I learned from him early on was figure out what your players can do, figure out what they're good at doing, and let's try to find as many ways to do that as we can. And that's kind of the focus of what we always do when we're trying to build an offense. If you look at, our history, Jared Stidham was totally different than Nick Marshall or Cam Newton or whoever we had, and we build the offense around the strengths of our players. Kobe should be one of those guys, and so we'll see how that plays out.
Hey, Coach Shane Whitehead, WFTV ABC. Since
I
you're
thought you were asking me that last question. Who was that?
over here,
I'm sorry.
since you joined college football in 2010, you ever been involved in a February signing day where you didn't sign anybody?
Yeah, last year I think I did that. My previous stop, we signed them all in December. We might have had one or two signees, but it's kind of become the norm, I would say. The last 2 years is when I really remember this being something that's a little unique and different. I think getting guys in December is a good thing for us because, we're not sitting around all for a month and a half trying to hold on to commits or whatever. And at the same time, if a guy knows he wants to be at UCF, I'm glad he's going ahead and signing. That means he's committed, he's all into us, not, waiting around to see if there's something else out there for him. Because we want kids that want to be all in. If they're not all in, then obviously they're not going to play their best and probably need them to move on anyway. I'm of the old belief that maybe when you decide you want to be here, just hand them the scholarship and let them sign, whenever that is. But not sure that'll ever happen. But so to answer your question, it is a little, but I do think it's the norm. It's becoming the norm within the last 2 years. And, I mentioned that earlier this morning. We used to get here at like 6 a.m. and have breakfast cooked, and everybody made a big deal out of it and all that. And it's still important, I think, because, there are a few guys, no one is not important. So you have to understand that. But at the end of the day, it's a different day for sure.
How much has the portal just changed everything, just in terms of managing roster, deciding how many high school guys you want to sign, and then, who wants to allocate scholarships to who? How much has that changed, especially over this past year?
Yeah, I think we're all still learning. It's changed tremendously, and I think it's also sped up the process. Like in recruiting, I'll just go back to Kobe, for instance, Hudson. That's a guy we started knowing in the 9th grade, right? So Coach and I both knew a lot about him even before he got in the portal. But when he got in the portal, it wasn't like we had to start from scratch. Well, now you get a guy that gets in the portal maybe at the end of December and wants to enroll in January. What are you looking at, 3 weeks to get really to know him? Especially us, we started school early. Some of these school guys are starting later. It speeds up the process. So I think that's why you see a lot of players. It'd be interesting to see what the percentage is. A lot of them will end up at places they had relationships with people because of that. And I think sometimes you have to be careful because part of recruiting is you figuring out, you getting to know them and them getting to know you, right? And there's sometimes you go, I don't know if that guy's a great fit here, so we'll let him go on somewhere else. And then, but at the same time, in this transfer world, you're trying to fill your needs, as Travis mentioned earlier, and get to know the guys very quickly, and it's sped up. And you got to make sure you do your research as much as you can. At the end of the day, you use whatever you have. The high school coaches, hopefully you have a relationship with maybe who played for him, and he can shoot you straight on a guy or whatever. Academic history, all those things go into play just like it would normal recruiting, but I think it's really sped up.
Coach, back here, Nathan Rivas with News 6 CBS. Understandably, Coach Malzahn needs his family, needs his attention during this time. How has the staff really come together to hold things down, but also support him right now?
Yeah, that's a great question because I would really, love to say, we all been praying for Christy and her health and improving, and I think she's making a lot of good progress. I'll let him speak on all that, but if you know him, he's going to always stay in touch. Okay, it's not like we hadn't heard from him. He's zoomed in for staff meetings and done things like that. And we've just tried to support him, and the best way we could support him, I think, was handle our business here at work in recruiting. And obviously, I think we did a nice job of that. And Coach was involved in all that as well. But trying to keep the day-to-day things that come up that we can handle to keep it out of his lap, so to speak, I think was one way to do it. But everybody just doing their job. This staff is very close. Coach has always had staffs that were close. He's got a high school background. I think that feeds a lot of that. It's, all of us hang out together, do things together, our families, and no different with Coach Malzahn. We wanted to support him every way we could and try to take a load off him while he, helps Christy get back to get her health back. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chip.